Hi everyone, this is your Sifu at Chi Nature and Tina Dragon Taoism channel. Today is a martial art talk. So I practice martial art since I was a kid, since like 8 years old or something, and now I'm like in the 40s. So long-term martial artist. But I want to talk about if you want to come here to learn Taoism or Taoist magic. Is it a problem if I practice martial art? Do you guys teach martial art? And what's your view on martial art? So any guys who come here with a martial art background or interest, I'm going to let you know what I have to say about this topic. So there you go. Like it or not, I'm not going to set a timer for this one because I don't know how much I will say. But let's get going. First of all, why I started martial art? Well, because I got bullied in school when I was very young, right? So around like grade 2-ish or grade 3, grade 2-ish, I was being bullied by the grade 6 in Hong Kong. And it was not a good feeling. I got bullied by girls. Like they frame me up for something I have not done and then push me down the staircase and then laugh at me and I have nowhere to go for help. And then they damage my stuff and say that, it just was like that, when no one was here, your pencil case just started breaking itself. What? And then later on, the grade 6 guys comes over and push me on the ground and kick me. So I was like scraping my knees on hard concrete floor, and it was bleeding so bad. And then no one cares about me, about like, hey, you're bleeding, guy. Look, dude, it's all red. No one cares. And it's so scary. Like, my childhood is full of these kind of things. So I wanted to get stronger to protect myself and most likely to fight back if I have to, right? And then I started the martial art. So after starting martial art, the bully actually stopped. And the funny thing is, like, you get older, right? So you get older, there will be less likely people coming around and picking a fight. But then you started to realize, hey, now I can fight to a certain extent. I'm not really interested in fighting anymore. I'm kind of enjoying what I'm doing and learning more about the technique, the skills, and stuff like that. So you become like a nerd in martial art. Okay? Now, that era of like, oh, I want to learn more, I want to explore, I want to learn different styles to see how everyone does their things, and it gets very interesting. Okay, then I get to a point where I become a fighter again. So the people come over to like challenge the school, right, and say, oh, I want to learn this, but before I learn it, I want to test your stuff, that kind of thing, right? And I was the one being put out to take the challenge because I'm always like, one of the best fighter over there. So I started fighting. And then eventually I realized, hey, everyone coming here is like a hypocrite. They say they're interested in learning. And the fact is they're picking a fight. They're trying to prove to you like their previous art is better than this one. And they just want to like prove to themselves or something like that. So all you need to do is give them a nosebleed, and then they will like, stop, okay, it's okay, good. And then everything ends right there. It's so stupid. I'm like, you guys are trying to fight, and then you stop when there's a nosebleed. If you're on the street like that, right, you got a nosebleed, you're like, oh, please, stop. No one's going to fight like that, right? They fight until you cannot get up. So who cares you got a nosebleed or mouth bleed or anything, right? So to me, that part shows me how unrealistic a lot of martial artists are. And then I looked into things like BJJ, MMA, and things like combat sport like that to see how people does it. And then it's so stupid too because they put on, first of all, when they're training, they are like guards. Okay, like you wear that thing on the groin. And it's like, okay, so now you're not afraid of being kicked right there or being like, punched right there because you have a protection. Then the whole thing becomes so unrealistic because during a fight, okay, usually people just punch your balls out and it's done, right? There was a school fight that I was involved, and that guy was like big and huge, and he's a wrestler. Like he learned a little bit of wrestling. And what I did was I pin him down, and I just like chain punch his balls out, and he went to hospital. And that was like done deal. You have a groin guard? I don't think you bring one with you, like when you go outside, right? Very hard to encounter someone wearing that thing. So yeah, and then you have a teeth guard, and then you have this guard, and they're like, yeah, everything is about safety. Well, I can understand because you're just going there to train, you're learning, it's a practice. But eventually, you see, they're aiming for what? They're aiming for sport. Okay, all these things are sports. They're not martial arts, they're sports. You are learning things to go to a competition to fight with rules and things you cannot do. And that's not realistic to me. I mean, when I was being bullied, no one cares about the rules. Okay, like you want to play 1v1? No, I don't think so, right? They bully and gang up on you. Like, what are you talking about? No one fight one versus one in reality. So it's like so stupid. The more I dig into those things, the more I realize it's so like they promote it like it's a combat sport, but it is actually just a sport. Okay, it's not even martial art already. So what is martial art? This question goes in here and confused me a lot. Okay, to me, martial art was like a fighting art. Martial, right? Fighting art. Something that allows you to fight for your life. That's what martial art was for me. And then eventually I get to a point where I think like it's only art and the martial, it's gone. And then sometimes people say, oh, martial art is like good for health. And then I looked at the history. A lot of the martial artists die early and they don't look healthy. And I'm like, so how is it really working? Like, what's the point of doing this thing? I want to be able to fight. Okay, now I can, but I don't see the other guys are actually really going for realistic fighting. Unless you're like going street fighting, but then you lose the health part. Then, kind of weird. So, and then I kind of gave up on the fighting part. And I just, when you get older, you have other things to do, right? So I got to business, opening this Chi Nature, this business. And then since then, we're like super busy doing our everyday life, and you have no way to have time to fight. And so you just continue with your business, your everyday life, and you realize martial art is pretty useless in this world because you don't fight. No one's gonna bully you with their, when you get old. No one does that. Everyone bully you with money. So what's the point of doing that, right? And then eventually the whole goal shifts to I want better health. Okay, because the thing is, a lot of people get older to, let's say, their 30s, or even some I saw, they're like in the 20s, and they're already like super worn out. Like, oh, my back hurts, my leg cannot straighten, I cannot touch my toes, and I can't even bend over. A lot of those people are wearing out at the early stage, and I look at it, I'm like, whew. I looked at the video on TikTok and I saw those grannies, like the grandparents. They are in the park in China, right? Doing all kinds of crazy things, swinging around the pole and doing splits and all that. I'm like, okay, guys, these are people in their 80s, 90s, and they're like so powerful with their body. So I changed my view. I'm like, I want to be like that. When I am like in my 80s, 90s, I want to be able to do all that stuff and not feel painful. I taught in the parks before, like I taught the elders how to do Tai Chi when I was young. And I realized those elders are very powerful compared to youngsters. Like they can do the whole Tai Chi form, right? The Yang style Tai Chi form. It's 108 movement, okay? I do it with them. And usually I do that form for like 20 minutes. They do it for 1 hour. Like their movement is so slow to the point you don't even think they're moving. And then it's like, wait a minute, it's not just slow, it's hard. When you have the kick and then you hold that leg in the air for like the whole 30 seconds and stretching it? It's not easy. You think slow is easy. No, it's not. It's very hard. And then I was having trouble keeping up with them while I'm the teacher. So I'm like, no, this thing is good stuff. I want to be like that when I'm old. So from then on, my goal of practicing martial art become like, I want good health. I want to be like that, right? I want to preserve my health. And then eventually, up to this point now, okay, jump to the present. Now, my upper, which passes on the Taoist magic to me, okay, taught me a new system of martial art. Okay, the system of martial art is like you can fight if you want to, but the goal is really to allow your body to work flawlessly with your magic side and also have the health, upkeep the health to a certain standard so that when you're older, you're not getting like all worn out. You have good ability mentally, physically, spiritually when you're old. Okay, the older you get, the better you are with those, and it upkeeps everything. I like that idea. So we keep going, and I realized it actually fixed a lot of problem. It prevents a lot of sickness, and that's the point of having martial art, right? I finally found my martial art. So there you go. This is my view on martial art and what the martial art I teach is about. It preserves your health. It allows you to be able to like kind of, not get that worn out. And if you need to fight, you will be able to fight. Now, let's talk about the fighting part because I know you want to ask how do you fight, right? You stay home all the time. You're not fighting. Well, okay. First of all, fighting is not about like, let's go, 1v1. You go Muay Thai, I go this. No, fighting is about saving your life with any method. That means any method, right? Okay? If people are coming at you, you grab a weapon. A stupid person would want to fight like this because we are human. Come on, okay? We have this. So when people are coming with this, you try to make yourself stronger than them. And that is not by lifting weight, getting muscular. That is by getting external objects to be your weapon. If you don't have anything around, the ground is your weapon. The wall is your weapon. Something hard, right? Make them smash into it. That is the way that you are not going to get hurt and they are, right? The first mindset is like that. Secondly, you're never going to waste your time trying to bruise someone by like punching the muscles and things like that. The actual martial arts skills should be all about using the least amount of force to snap the fragile part of people. Like if, let's say you go here, right? It's very easy. If you go like this and snap the neck right there, it's easy, right? Like you get a blackout right away. But if you have to like punch, it takes so many punch for the guy to actually feel something, okay? So you see the mindset of like a sport is gone because the whole mindset is, I want you to be done. That's not like, okay, I want you to be exhausted and they're like, oh, surrender. There's no surrender. You are down and done. That is the goal. You don't like that? Not for you, okay? Fighting is about this. So weaponize, okay, minimize minimal force for maximum damage, and also it's about life saving. Okay, that's what fighting is about. So anyway, now if you're in here and you want to practice our martial art, welcome. But if you want to keep practicing your martial art, now I have something for you. What you're practicing right now, does it align with our stuff? If it doesn't, eventually there will be a point where you have to be forced to make a decision because it's contradicting, right? Two sides. Oh, this side say this side say that. What are you going to choose? Okay, eventually you will have to. But for the first few stages, you don't have to. Like you can keep doing what you're doing for a while, After a few years later, you decided to go up a stage, then you can decide, do I really like this thing I'm doing right now, or do I want to go with the Tao, right? There you go. So I am very flexible, and I'm just telling you that, eventually you will have to make a choice. And I'm telling you my point of view for martial art today so that you can be prepared. If you have any more questions, email me and we can talk. See you in the next one.